Hello, everybody. It's Marcy from wavesofcommunication.com. The information in this show is designed to equip and empower parents to take action today. Parents are advised to never give away your power as your child's language facilitator to any therapist, teacher, consultant, or even to a specific method or strategy. Most importantly, the strategies and advice provided here are general and not intended to replace personalized consultation. If you want individual coaching and advice, you should visit wavesofcommunication.com to learn how to work with me as a client. What I wanted to do is share with you today 5 tips to help you successfully work through those times when your world is feeling overwhelmed, when your mindset is stuck and you hardly can even take action. What I've done is worked up a few strategies that you can keep in your emergency toolbox. You know, I talk about equipping and empowering parents, and that's what this video is all about. So these strategies are designed to help you have something pre-planned in your toolbox for those moments, and they pop up randomly. You know, the tantrum at Target, or somebody says something about your kid, or you're in the middle of trying, maybe you put together some great thing, or you're at a party or whatever, right? These times when your life feels, you feel the struggle of being a parent of a child who's late talking. During those times, that is when you can use these strategies. The first tip that I have, the first strategy, is to write out your problems. Use your language facilitation journal or your computer or a piece of paper randomly, the back of an envelope from a bill, it doesn't matter. In the moment or when you get a minute, write out a numbered list. Number 1. All of the problems, everything that frustrates you, irritates you, annoys you, worries you, or otherwise causes you some kind of physical or emotional suffering. Every little thing, write it down. And the reason you want to do that and number them and write the littlest things, like I hate it when my husband chews with his mouth open. The kids are messy teeth brushers and there's toothpaste all over my bathroom. All of the things in your life, the problems that cause you to what I would call suffer, okay? Write them all down. And then when you look at your list, you want to circle the numbers of the things that you already know a strategy to try. You want to identify those things that you know how to solve, but they keep happening because you haven't done the work to solve the problem. You know the solution, but you haven't done it yet, right? Those are the things I'm talking about here. Because one of the things that stops us in our tracks for moving forward is lack of a plan. I don't know what to do, so you do nothing. When you literally write out the things that annoy you, and there are things that are going to annoy you that you can do nothing about. You know, you can't stop your partner from smacking their mouth while they're eating. So there are things that we have to learn to deal with and accept. It is what it is, right? Instead of judge and let annoy us, we have the choice, because not everybody's annoyed by your spouse's smacky eating, right? You are. And that suffering is up to you. So there are things that you can't control over, but instead of having to say, get over it, which is what you kind of do with yourself sometimes, don't worry about those things that you have no control over. Focus on the things that you can make a change about, that you're ready to make a change about today, all right, that you already have the strategies for. And then you want to plan 3 opportunities to try out that strategy, because it's probably a strategy that you haven't used a whole lot because you're experiencing this problem. And if this is a strategy you can use to solve this problem, then you take it. What can I do? You can either understand it more or you can take some action to change it, one or the other, because there's only 2 choices with problems. We ignore them or we do something about them, right? So You have to decide. That's the first thing. When we understand what they are, we can decide which ones are which. And writing them out is the best way to start. Okay? All right, number 2, the second strategy for helping you move forward is to give yourself a break, okay? I advise that you plan some time alone every day so that you can process your feelings, okay, and plan your actions without distraction. That's the first kind of break. There's 2 kinds of breaks I'm talking about here. The first kind is a break from the world, right? Where you can focus on your thoughts, you can think about your problems, you can think about your potential solutions, you can do the number 1, all of that stuff, but you have to have time. A lot of parents do it before their kids wake up in the morning or after their kids go to bed at night. I advise in the morning because then your brain's fresh and you're coming out of it at night, you're exhausted from the day. So it's up to you what time, when they're napping, when they're whatever, but it is time for you alone where you're not doing something else. It's not pay the bills time or do the chores time, or it's where you listen to music and think. An image of a gal here, just looking out the window, drinking a cup of tea, having a break with her thoughts, to think about what her thoughts are. Because if you don't think about what your thoughts are, they overtake you and you're not conscious. So the second the second break that you need to give yourself is about expectations, okay? Check them. Check your expectations. And this is how you give yourself a break, because number 1, you identify, are those expectations that are running through your head that make you, I gotta do this, are those expectations other people's expectation of you? You know, because of their judgment or because of their direction. You know, you maybe ought to think about doing XYZ with your child, and then you start thinking about it, right? That's what I'm talking about. Is it somebody else's projected expectation onto you? And is that expectation even reasonable? Because you know your life. As you sit alone and think about this time, is it even reasonable for you to have these expectations right now? And if you don't, if it's somebody else's expectation, in that moment, let it go. It's not yours, right? In this time that you have some space to think about your thoughts, this is when you can decide what is filling that space. You don't have to think about stuff you don't want to think about. That's not important, that you can't do anything about anyway. It's a waste of your break time. Let's get into the next one. Number 3, the third strategy that I have for you about mindset work is to use conscious self-analysis, okay? Self-analysis, conscious, meaning you think about yourself and what you're doing. And you use that conscious self-analysis to overcome the unconscious habits that you want to change. Those moments when your child typically does a behavior that you don't like. It's unwanted. You don't want to see that behavior. And when that happens, the first thing you need to do is notice your immediate reaction to that situation, to the meltdown, to the behavior that you are observing in your child. Notice your reaction, your physical reaction. How does your body feel? Does your heart start pounding? Do you start immediately jump to action and start manipulating the situation and talking to people and telling them what to do? Like subconsciously it turns on. A switch turns on. It's like a trigger. I call it a trigger, right? When your subconscious habits of prompting your kid, grabbing them and running out of the store without working through it, blah, 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 all those things that you're like, I could have worked through that better, right? Those habits that you're trying to learn to change. If you've watched any of my videos, those things you try to do. So in the moment, you want to really start to analyze, how do I feel right now? And then you think about, what did I just do? Is this helping? And so how you make a decision, if it's helping, is if you decide that you are behaving in the way that you want to teach your child to behave, because you are a mirror. Your child is looking at you and they're going to do and say what you do and say. And when the chips fall and situations arise in your house, they're watching to see your reaction. If you use any kind of discipline, or you try to correct your child or do any of those kinds of things, do you want your child to behave like you? Do you want them to hit you? Do you want them to yell at you? And when you think about your own actions and you understand how you're emitting negative energy potentially because of your subconscious reaction to this behavior you don't want to see, right? The key here is to model the behavior that you want to see. All behavior is communication, so you want to model the communication behavior that you want to see from your child when they do things that you don't like. So if they're tantruming because they're upset because they can't have something, what would you prefer that they do when they can't have something? You have to show them what that looks like, if that's what you want to see. Because remember, you are the mirror. Your child is watching you. They're not going to learn to be sweet and kind if you are not sweet and kind with them. They're going to learn what you teach them. And your mindset, those subconscious things, those subconscious spring to action and swat the child as soon as they scream for the 50th time during your day, instead of figure out why the child's screaming and work into those things. It's a long-term solution, but it is the biggie. It's all about bringing the unconscious stuff that you automatically do, reactions, into the conscious, so you're like, what am I doing right now? Is this what I want my kid to learn? And that's all you say. Number 4, okay, you could be feeling overwhelmed when you get your progress report and you see my child's not doing X, Y, and Z. That's typically what they say on these reports or evaluation reports. They have 2 sentences about what your child is doing and 50 pages about what they're not doing. And that might be an exaggeration, but it probably feels like that a lot of times. And when you see those reports, it can trigger you to go into this mindset of, there's so many things wrong with my kid who just got labeled this and level that and been recommended 8,000 things, all of that stuff. This overwhelm can cause you to freeze in your action and not know what to do with your child. And so my suggestion is, when you're feeling that overwhelm, that you choose one goal, a functional goal, and you hyper focus on that goal. You make sure that you address that goal at least 5 times during your day. So what you do is you pick one functional skill, not a skill off your kid's IEP or what your mom told them you think they should be doing, or your doctor or the ADOS or wherever you find goals. You pick something that you want to do. You want to teach your child to do. Potty training, writing, eating by themselves, staying with you when you go outside to walk. Any skill, it doesn't matter. And that's what I give my families when they feel overwhelmed and they're stuck in progress. I give them one thing to focus on for the week. Telling stories, pretend play, modeling language, stopping prompting, swapping prompting for statements, questions for statements, swapping tech time for talk time. That one strategy you focus on. Don't worry about the rest of the stuff. And it will make you and your child feel better and be able to work harder after you make some success, after you see some improvement with this, okay? That's how you know how to do this. So you pick a functional skill that will help your child be more successful in their life. And these are my suggestions, the skills you choose. Something that helps your child overcome a fear. Okay, if they've got a sensory fear, you work on that. If they're afraid of crowds, if they're afraid of whatever, you can work on helping your child overcome that fear, because when they overcome the fear, they're going to be so happy and excited that you help them solve that problem that they're going to be all in for learning more things from you. Meeting a need. If your child needs to, to ask for things, or let you know that they want to watch videos, let you know that they want to eat, let you know that they want to go out, let you know that they're tired, that they have to go potty. How are you helping your child communicate that need to you better than they are right now, using more spoken language? How are you helping your child share their ideas? So they like, their superpower, music or trucks or whatever. How are you helping them share that love with you and the world? These are the 3 things: overcoming fear and talking about feelings, meeting a need, and sharing ideas. These are the 3 skills, spoken language skills, that kids use behavior for, and you can help them switch. And when you pick one of those and you help them make improvement communicating one of those things, they're going to be all in for learning more spoken language from you, because now they know that words work to help them meet their needs, right? To help them be more successful. Otherwise, why bother? If you're guessing everything your child says and letting them rely on you to be their talkie box, and, because they do a little thing or say one word and you automatically meet their needs without facilitating language, then you're going to be stuck. That's why you choose one skill that you are facilitating without any expectation. Okay? And you highlight your focus on that one skill for every activity. So if you're working on telling stories to expand your language as, a language facilitation. So if your kid's stuck in single words, you want to work on telling stories and doing pretend play. Then you want to tell stories while you're brushing your teeth, while you're getting dressed, while you're eating meals, while you're taking a walk. Telling stories is the way to put language in. So how many stories are you telling throughout the day, right? You can use that one strategy all day long, see some improvement in your child, and then guess what? When you see improvement in your child, your mood goes up, your energy goes back into the focus of working on what you're doing. But you have to hyper-focus on one goal if you're feeling overwhelmed. That's how you get through it, all right? Let's move into number 5. The last thing that I want to tell you about these mindset tools that I have today is to know your triggers, right? To maintain control and get your power back, because people will try to steal your power 24/7. Your kids steal it from you, your boss steals it from you, your spouse steals it from you. People who try to tell you that your kid is broken steal it from you. You can get your power back when you understand your emotional triggers, okay? And when you get your power back, empowerment gets rid of negative mindset, because powerful people take action to see results and solve their problems. But without some motivation, every single time you're triggered, you're going to get knocked right back down into excuses, right? Because triggers without understanding and action turn into excuses for not taking action. Yeah, this happened. He did it. I got COVID. I'm locked down. There's a million things that will get in your way, outside things that you have no control over. You turn triggers, stuff that doesn't work in your life, into action. When you're feeling a certain way, like I can't do anything because, and the justifications and excuses start rolling around up in your head, and you start to think about those things, catch yourself. Understand that you have been triggered. Some outside force flipped on your anxiety switch and it's going full blast. The mind is working monkey talk, busy brain, whatever they call it, right? And that's nowhere to be to overcome conscious habits, help your child make improvement, and help yourself feel better, right? So when you have time, when these things happen, when you have a little quiet time, I want you to think about, look at your previous day and think about what triggered you. What caused you to have that heart pounding or gut wrenching feeling that caused you to shut down, lose your power. Literally, somebody pulled the plug on you when they said, your child has XYZ diagnosis. That's a common one, right? So if people talking to you about your kid triggers you to feel anxiety, then know it. Because number 2 thing about this is remind yourself that it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. You have a child who's late talking, you go out in public, your child has behaviors, people are going to say stuff. They're going to say stuff. And you have a choice, just like I've talked about here before, about when those outside triggers happen in your life, how you react to them. You have a choice. But you only can choose to make those reactions if you understand what those triggers are. So you have to think that what they are and remember that they're going to come again. And then in that moment, when you're thinking about it, you're like, all right, the next time this happens, I'm going to do this. And it may or may not happen for you. It may or may not regenerate and all of that, but it will help you. It will help you over time if you consciously pay attention to what these triggers are. And that's another good thing to write down in your journal. I get triggered when somebody says something about my kid, when people talk about diagnosis, whatever, when the speech therapist shows up late, when the ABA person tries to not tell me to not hug my kid, like all of these triggers that happen to you. And then you have to figure out if these triggers are happening over and over and over again, then something in your environment needs to change. Because there's no reason for triggers to happen repeatedly. Triggers happen unexpectedly. But if the same kinds of things are triggering you over and over again, that means that you haven't made changes, that you keep putting yourself in those environments, literally, to get that negative feedback. And the only way that you can turn that negative input into something useful is to decide how you're going to react or act or respond. Let's talk about respond versus react, right? You're going to use your conscious mindset and respond when you're triggered instead of react and do the unconscious habits that show your child the wrong behavior, go down the wrong direction, and keep you stuck where you are now. And that's what all of this is about. Mindset is about the action that you take. All of this mindset stuff works, and it's connected to the outcome. And that's why people think, oh, she's doing another mindset video again. Where's the equipment list? Where's the flashcards? Where's the strategies to use puzzles and pretend play and tell me how to get my kid talking, right? The whole thing is you can't get your kid talking if your mindset is stuck in overwhelm and worry for the future. Your expectations are, so you're trying to meet other people's expectations that aren't even reasonable for your family and your child, given COVID, given pandemic, given whatever, right? Changes are happening all the time, and people are finding themselves either equipped and empowered or somewhere stuck in the bottom of I don't know what to do. And these strategies will help you. Let me review them one more time. Just going to go through them really quick in case you join me late to let you know what they are. Number 1, list your problems to identify easy now action steps. Separate the things you can't control. Let them go. The things you can, choose a few or one particular that you can take action on. Second thing, give yourself a break from exposure to the world where you can spend some time alone, and a break from expectations. Other people's on you, your expectations on yourself, because you might have bigger expectations for yourself than other people have on you. But are they reasonable? Is it even something you think you can do? Or is it, I'll be happy someday when? Because I'll be happy someday doesn't help you be happy now. And have fun every day. Why not, right? Okay, number 3, use your conscious analysis of your own behavior to overcome your unconscious habits of reactivity. Replace reactivity with responsibility. I know how to respond to this, to solve this problem and help us move forward happy instead of feeding into it or ignoring it. Number 4, develop one goal for yourself to focus on with your child and hyper focus on that strategy. Do it all day, every day, 2 to 3 hours, every single day, and you'll see improvement that will turn your mindset around and make you and your child realize how capable you are, because you'll solve that one problem. If you hyper focus on solving one problem for a couple weeks' time, you'll solve it. You will. You'll figure out a way. And if you don't know how, that's when you work with a coach, right? Or you start watching more strategies videos and learn how. And then number 5 is know your triggers. Plan your reaction to transform when somebody triggers you. You turn it into a positive thing where you take action and use the chaos and the triggers for a positive outcome, to learn a lesson, to realize I'm never doing that again, right? And that is positive because Avoiding triggers is a positive thing too, right? Avoiding negative is just as good as adding more positive, because it's all about balance. It's all got to go some way, and the negative things are gonna come. It happens. It's in our world. It's a divergent world. We all are different and everybody's got an opinion, right? Especially on social media. So this is your opportunity to take control. Just get your control back about all of this, all right? So those are my 5 strategies. Your mindset is what helps you solve the problems or let the problems take over. Equipment and empowerment. That's what all this is about. You can help your child be better when you feel equipped, when you feel powerful, when you feel not underwater, not triggered, not whatever, responsible, right? Instead of reactive, get responsible. And that's how all this works, and you can do it. If you are feeling overwhelmed and you're ready to get started, you want a brand new plan for 2021 to help your child start talking, that's when you start to head over to the website, wavesofcommunication.com. You can work with me as a coach to learn how to get your child's nonverbal communication, whatever it is, moved into their best possible spoken language through language facilitation. It's working for parents all over the world, no matter how old your child is, no matter what's going on to cause their late talking. I will find you. I will help you find the blockages, and we will get your kiddo using their best spoken language, just like all the other parents in my program. Wavesofcommunication.com. That's where you go find it. And I'm going to get out of here for now and see you all on my next live video.